Senator Poggemiller.
Mr. President, I would like to call on Assistant Majority Leader Senator Tarryl Clark.
Senator Clark.
Thank you, members. I have to admit it seems a little odd to be doing it this early. So I hope that we all are able to pause and reflect on the good things that we've been able to do together while we are still working hard to resolve and finish the end of session in a good way. I think that all of you know, as my seatmate notes, I share part of the special election class of 2005. Terry Bonoff and Amy Koch and myself. It's a little different when you're elected in a special election than in other times, in part because when we get to be sworn in, unlike the regular swearing in, we get to stand up front and be sworn in and have our family, our friends, and our supporters in the chamber. For me, it would also happen to be the first day that I had ever been on the Senate floor. And I was able to look from where our president is now and look across to the Supreme Court chambers where I happened to be sworn in as an attorney many years earlier. Our branches of government are designed to work together to find positive solutions, and I think in spite of our strife at times, we're able to. Now, my family's here today with me, joining me, and that's important to me because we are part of a group that has worked hard to make positive change. When I was in law school, it was the first bill I ever worked on, ironically, was early childhood. And it was with Senator Berglund and others, and our kids were 4 and 6 at the time. And ironically, the last bill, or one of the last bills I worked on, was college credit transfers. And Colin is a graduate of St. John's, and Nathan today is actually supposed to be graduating from the U. Our work together as elected leaders requires us to stay sensitive and aware of the challenges and opportunities and successes at home and throughout Minnesota, and it's an honor to again to be here with my family. They are going to continue to join me on the journey that I've now embarked for a different type of public service. I want to thank Senator Poggemiller and Senator Senjum for the work that we all have been able to do together to try to make this place work a bit more efficiently and effectively, and working with a lot of you on both sides of the aisle on many bipartisan bills, whether it's working through things like improving our public safety, whether it's working on things like predatory lending, reverse mortgages, or that is, excuse my language, as my family like to call it, that damn good faith bill. We stood up for our veterans and our families, for our communities. We've helped our seniors stay in their homes. We've worked with our federal partners on making sure that their standards of health care and focus on outcomes instead of quantity and procedures. And when our federal partners haven't helped us out, we took the reins, as we did on our transportation bill, to make sure that we were able to go ahead and do things like replacing our bridge in the heart of central Minnesota. We've said no to the status quo. We've demanded accountability and transparency and cut a lot of red tape, but maybe not as much as some of us would have liked to. We tried to make it easier for local government to cut costs and for everyone to innovate. And most importantly, in these difficult economic times, we've worked to create good jobs and help Minnesota's businesses succeed. I know that Senator Senjum always talks about making sure we're putting policy first and politics last. And I think that for me, the Harry Truman quote about it's amazing what you can accomplish when you don't care who gets the credit is a lot when I'm looking around the room, what I think about everyone here. Now, on this last Easter, my husband Doug and I were actually at a cathedral, and the sermon that day talked about our political environment in terms of being a Roman Colosseum. And that battle, the heated, bloody battles that are waged to excite the crowd rather than build communities and solve problems. Let's face it, though, our founders, whether on the state or the federal level, build a wise system. We're energetic, ambitious, and creative people, and sometimes these positive qualities turn to greed. Greed for money, greed for power and influence, greed for popularity and prestige. But our founders created a system requiring cooperation. Sometimes systems turn into heated conflict and impasse and gridlock, but we do the most and the best for people electing us when we cooperate and value each member of the community. And yes, when we find compromise. As elected officials, just very quickly, I was thinking about the miracle of the loaves and fishes. When you took a couple loaves and you took a few fishes and you fed the hungry. When we could take a few yards of cloth and clothe the naked, and we take a few yards of lumber and we shelter the homeless. To paraphrase Gandhi, we live the change we wish to be in the world. As I leave here, I want to thank each of you, our wonderful staff, the hardworking men and women who make this building work and make Minnesota work. I want to thank each of our families, because let's face it, they sacrifice a great deal for us. And while I had been around a long time before I was elected, I don't think I fully appreciated what sacrifices each person's family in this room goes through just so that we can do the public service that we have been called to do. As I said, I've been called to a different form of public service. We still have a lot of work to do. I hope to be a partner with you and my family. We're able to change things here and now. I am confident, expressing the optimism of Senator Senjum yesterday about sunrise compromises and solutions, that we will end this session in a good note. But I want you to know that you all have changed my life, and I want to thank you for it.